Hi friends, good morning all of you. My name is Vaishnavi Subhash Kulkarni. I am a M.Tech student from VIT University Chennai. Today I am going to explain the topic hybrid operating system or a hybrid kernel operating system. As we all know, the operating system manages the hardware and the software, and kernel is the important part of the operating system. So the hybrid kernel operating system is formed by the two operating system, that is the monolithic kernel and the microkernel. It combines all the benefits and aspects of the microkernel and the monolithic kernel. So we have seen that the kernel is an important part. Kernel is said as the heart of the operating system. The operating system consists of the two parts, that is the kernel space and the user space. And there are two concepts of the kernel, that are the monolithic and the microkernel. So the so in this section we will see what is meant by the monolithic kernel and the microkernel and how it is combined to make the hybrid operating system. So this is the basic structure of the monolithic kernel based operating system. Monolithic operating system runs every basic system service in the kernel space. So as shown in the diagram, the user space and the kernel space is shown below, that the hardware is there. So in the user space only the application program and the library functions are present, whereas in the kernel space all the file system, inter-process communication, input output device management, all the process management it's carried out. So the services and the programs are run in the kernel space in the monolithic kernel operating system. So this operating system is having many disadvantages or drawbacks. The drawbacks are the size of the kernel, the lack of the extensibility and the maintainability. So as we have seen in the figure, the kernel size is bigger as compared to the microkernel operating system in this, because all the processes are run in the kernel space. So it is not easy to manage the processes running in the kernel space. So to avoid this drawback, we can use the microkernel. The microkernel was used to reduce the basic process communication and the input output control, and let the other system services to reside in the user space rather than in the kernel space. Normally all the processes reside in the user space while running or while execution. So this is the structure of the microkernel based operating system. As we can see, the user space and kernel space is separated, and below that the hardware. The structure is same as the monolithic kernel. The difference is that in the user space application program and libraries are present, but also with these two functions all the file system, process management, inter-process communication, process server, pager, drivers, etc. are present here. So the processes running or the services that are being run, they reside in the user space rather than in a kernel space. In the kernel space only microkernel is present. So the size of the kernel is slow, so the execution is faster in the microkernel based operating system. So now this is the combined diagram of the microkernel operating system, and the this is the combined diagram of the hybrid kernel, which is formed by the monolithic kernel and the microkernel based operating system. In this, the user space and kernel space is there, where that the hardware, the structure is same as we have seen before. The in the user space the application programs are there, the library functions are there, the file server is there, the Unix server is there, and in the kernel mode the inter-process communication is carried out between the application as well as the basic processes. Device drivers are present, virtual memory, scheduling, all the processes are carried out in the kernel mode. Below the hardware is present. So the hybrid operating system is formed by the combination of the two kernels, that is the microkernel and the monolithic kernel. So we have seen the diagrams of the hybrid kernel and all of these two, that is the microkernel. So we can conclude that the hybrid kernel is the combination of these two kernels, and by using the benefits, means by combining the benefits and by avoiding the drawbacks of the monolithic kernel, and by using the benefits from the microkernel, the hybrid operating system is formed. Thank you.